Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and I wanted to do a video of something that I found over the weekend that I thought was kind of cool. Figured I'd share it with you. It is the Sleepaway Camp Survival Kit box set. And this is something I didn't even know existed, and then when I did a little bit of research after I bought it, I found that not only did I get a version that is no longer being made, but I also got a exclusive Best Buy version. I picked this up, I think it was like $20, and it is used, but it's in really great shape, being that it's just basically a cardboard box with 3 or 4 DVDs in it. And I'll kind of go over each of the movies a little bit, and then I'll show you what's inside it. But I'm really glad I picked this up, mainly because the Sleepaway Camp series is one of those things that has just sort of slipped through my fingers as a horror fan. And I want to clarify something. I'm a horror fan, but I'm more of a sci-fi fan, but I do like a lot of horror movies. So there are a lot of things in the horror genre that I haven't seen, and I'm really trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. So I hadn't seen any of these movies, and when I saw it on the shelf, I figured, okay, here's a perfect opportunity to see something that I just haven't gotten around to watching. So I'm glad I picked this up, even more glad about it now that I find out that I got a relatively collectible version of this box set. For those of you who don't know about the Sleepaway Camp series, it started off in 1983 with a movie titled Sleepaway Camp, which is highly regarded mainly for its controversial ending, which I can attest that that ending still holds up today, even though I knew what it was, and I won't spoil it. But the ending really still holds up. It still creeped me out. It's still very effective. And then there were 5 years that passed, and in 1988, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers came out, and this sort of shifted gears for the series. It went from relatively straight horror to a kind of comedy horror hybrid, and that continued the following year with 1989's Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, which is not that great of a film, although Sleepaway Camp 2 is not anywhere near as good as the original Sleepaway Camp. So I'll show you what's in this, and like I said, this is no longer being made anymore because of the Red Cross on it. Apparently the Red Cross had some issue with what could be confused, I guess, with their logo being used to promote a horror movie or horror movies. So the version now, I think it just says Survival Kit on it, but as it is right now, it's got the Red Cross. Camp Can Be Murder down here, and this says exclusive bonus 4th DVD Sleepaway Camp 4, the Survivor production footage, and I'll touch on that in just a second. But on the back, it just sort of tells you what the movies are about. I'm a little disappointed in the back because it kind of gives away, or at least gives you a hint to the ending of the first film, so I won't read that. But if you open this up, you've got what looks like stuff from a first aid kit, sunscreen lotion, antiseptic wipe, burn cream, some scissors. On the other side, you've got some gauze, more first aid cream, and some Band-Aids. And then the DVDs. And there's also a booklet in here, and I'll show you these. This is the first film, and I remember in the 1980s and early 1990s going to the local VHS video store where we would rent movies, and I always saw a poster for this, and this is sort of a classic, almost iconic horror poster. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is the knife going through the tennis shoe and the letter in the background that says, "Dear Mom and Dad, I've been at Sleepaway Camp for almost 3 weeks. Now I'm getting very scared." And these DVDs are relatively short on special features. This just has the widescreen version. There is an audio commentary with the director, Robert Hiltzik, and the star Felissa Rose and moderator Jeff Hayes, and the original theatrical trailer. This movie runs 84 minutes, and from what I understand, this movie has been slightly trimmed for the Anchor Bay DVD set, or the DVD pressing. There is another version of the DVD put out by a company called Legacy, which I guess looks terrible. It looks like they just copied the VHS tape right to DVD, but it is the full uncut version of the film. But I think by uncut, we're talking about a difference of maybe 20-some seconds or something. So I'm not too terribly broken up about the fact that this is slightly edited. But this is the classic. This is the one that started it all. And then you've got Sleepaway Camp 2. Now, like I said, this was a shift in gears for the series. This went to sort of a more comedic bent. This has a different director, where the original was done by Robert Hiltzik. This is done by Michael A. Simpson. This was also written by Fritz Gordon. On the front, you can see this woman who is not in the movie, but she's carrying a backpack with a Freddy mask, or a Freddy glove and a Jason mask. This is also fairly light on features. It does have the widescreen presentation, which really isn't a feature. Audio commentary with the director and the writer. Behind-the-scenes footage and outtakes. A teaser for Sleepaway Camp 3, and the theatrical trailer for this film. This one runs 79 minutes. And one of the things that's kind of interesting is Sleepaway Camp 2 was filmed first, obviously, and then a week later they filmed Sleepaway Camp 3. Now, this was written by the same guy, Fritz Gordon, and directed by the same guy, Michael A. Simpson. But it's like, and they use the same set, basically, as the second film. But again, this is more of a comedic film than a horror film, and this one seems oddly neutered as far as the special effects. There seem to be a lot of quick cuts, and a lot of the special effects have been edited out. And that's actually one of the special features on this disc, is the deleted scenes featuring additional gore footage. So for whatever reason, a lot of the kill scenes were kind of snipped on this. But this one runs 80 minutes, and it's vastly inferior, in my opinion, to the second film, and that is compounded by the reduction in quality from the first to the second film. So if you're going to watch these, be prepared that the quality does drop off from movie to movie. And then the final disc is production footage from the unfinished Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. And this looks like they shot barely enough footage to make a trailer, which is featured on here. There's about a half an hour's worth of footage, and it's basically a woman running around in the woods being chased by a ranger, being found by a hunter, and some shots of her in a bikini that seem totally unrelated to anything. And then the teaser trailer for the film, as it was supposed to be shown in theaters, I guess, or to maybe get investor interest, I have no idea, just shows a lot of that same footage interspliced with scenes from the 3 previous films. This one does not feature any of the characters, or it's not supposed to be any of the same characters from the first 3 films. I'm really not sure what the story was supposed to be, but this looks like it would have been terrible had it been finished, but apparently the production company that was making it went out of business and didn't finish the film. There is a 4th film called Return to Sleepaway Camp, I believe, which was actually written and directed by the original writer and director of Sleepaway Camp, Robert Hiltzik. But from what I understand, it is not very good. I have not seen it, so I can't comment on it. But and then the other thing that's included in here is this Sleepaway Camp Diary, which just has some interesting facts about the movies and some pictures from all 3 movies that are included. Some interesting stuff. And of course, it's all stained in blood with more first aid references. You can see that nice little picture. But this is pretty cool. For what I paid for it, this was definitely well worth it. I watched each one of these movies for the past 3 nights after work, and found myself entertained, even though, like I said, the movies got dumber and dumber as we went on. But definitely worth picking up for what I paid for it. And again, I'm glad I got the version that is no longer being made, which is pretty cool. So I'm actually really glad that I picked this up. One thing that I thought was funny, and that I didn't realize till I had finished watching these films, is that the casts of all 3 of these films is made up, the casts of each of the 3 films are made up by a lot of siblings and relatives of people who are more famous. From the first film, Ben the cook is Robert Earl Jones, and that's James Earl Jones' dad. From the second and third film, Pamela Springsteen is actually Bruce Springsteen's sister. From the second film, the character of Molly is played by Renee Estevez, who is the younger half-sister, I believe, or the younger sister of Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. And of course, any Charlie Sheen reference these days is winning. And Tracy Griffith from the third film, she is actually the half-sister of Melanie Griffith. So a lot of interesting connections to otherwise more famous people in the Sleepaway Camp films. So anyway, individually, I would have to rate these films. I would give Sleepaway Camp a 6.5 out of 10, mainly on the strength of the ending and the unique concepts in the film. Sleepaway Camp 2, I would give that a 4 out of 10. And Sleepaway Camp 3, I would give that probably a 2 out of 10. But don't get me wrong, if you're a fan of horror and a fan of cheesy films, all three of these movies are worth owning. They are not great movies by any means, but the first one, like I said, does deserve its classic status for the unexpected ending and the unique twist that it puts on the genre of the slasher film. So there you go. There's my review of the Sleepaway Camp Survival Kit. And as always, feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe, and keep watching for more movie, music, and video game stuff. One thing that I do want to let you know that's coming up next week, hopefully next week, is I will be reviewing the new Xbox 360 game Homefront, which I'm picking up the day it comes out, and I'll be doing a video for it very similar to the video that I did for the Medal of Honor game, so look forward to that. So there you go. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.